In Nam, he was the perfect killer. Now, he'll have to prove it again.
Run, you're gonna die.
Mike Danton is Deadly Prey.
Danton? You know him? Know him. I trained him.
They turned the killer loose on themselves. Troy Donahue, Fritz Matthews, and Cameron Mitchell star in a film so violent it cannot be rated. Viewer caution advised. Killer and teacher face off in a final battle. Only one can survive in Deadly Prey.
And welcome everyone to Bullets,
Bourbon,
and Karate. And this week's episode is
Deadly Prey. Adam, who am I? A little man who spent 27 years of his life as a cop trying to put big shots like you away? 27 years in the filth and dirt of the streets, and there ain't no music down there. You watch people on the streets killing, raping, pumping dope in their veins, while big men like you sit in their fancy penthouses. And yet the poor slobs rot in hell. I know about you. As long as it puts money in your pocket. Today the nobodies who made you rich are gonna win. Die, you son of a bitch. And those were the final words of Jamie's father in Deadly Prey.
Cameron Mitchell delivered that, I believe. That stirring. Well, first of all, well done, Marcus.
Thank you.
That was a monologue which comes out of nowhere, delivered by a character who doesn't really serve a purpose, delivered to a character who also really serves no purpose in the film. But this movie's kind of full of that, isn't it?
I think you could say everything serves no purpose in this movie. I think you could easily throw that umbrella over everything that this
over everything
movie
in this. You know what you got though? You have this guy who, by all means, should be an '80s star,
right?
In Ted Pryor, excuse me.
Yeah,
but I guess he just lacks charisma. And I don't want to knock the guy, because obviously he's in incredible shape and all this stuff, but he lacks the ability to make me believe anything he says.
Ted's got the looks. Ted's got the body. Ted's got the face. Ted's got the hair.
Yes.
He's probably got great breath. He's got, flexible, good with the ladies,
Shorts.
Yeah. I mean, everything. This guy is like the Dallas Cowboys 2020 on paper. Everybody probably expected huge things from him. His parents are like, yeah, Ted, you got it all. Go out there. Go out to L.A. Do this. Like, you got it. His buddies are saying the same thing. And poor Ted just doesn't deliver, man.
Just doesn't deliver. And he's certainly not supported in any way by anything about about this movie. This movie, Deadly Prey, 1987. This is one that came across, I first saw the box cover in a Facebook group I'm a part of, and this guy does like VHS Mondays or something. He always posts random VHS, and I saw that. I was like, that looks interesting. And the trailer makes this look like it's going to be the most violent, action-packed movie you've ever seen, because they're like, the critics or the ratings association wanted to give it an NC-17 or something like that due to the violence. And you're like, and there's no violence at all.
Maybe we forgot to put in a blood code at the first of the movie or something.
It felt like there should have been a blood code, and it has an R rating. And if that R rating was given off an NC-17, I don't know why it would have gotten. They cut out so much. This movie could have been a PG-13 movie.
I think so. Yeah. Besides the arm cut off and the neck wound that we get from the shot of the stick or whatever, but those are like the only two that really stick. Well, I guess the I hate to say it, the rape also, which also really served no purpose, right?
But before we go any further, I'm Adam Archer.
I'm Mark Hall.
And you're listening to Bullets, Bourbon, and Karate. And you can find us on social media at BB Karate Podcast on Twitter and Instagram, and bbkaratepodcast at gmail.com. You can also find us on Facebook at Bullets, Bourbon, and Karate. And Marcus, what's something very important that everyone should do for us?
Rate us. Just rate us. Come on. You know, we're 3 stars, 4 stars, 5 stars. I mean, if you're getting to 3 or 2, just move on about your day. Go do whatever you need to do, and don't do that. But if you're in the 4 or 5 range and you got some good feedback for us, give it to us. It doesn't take long. You're on Apple. You're on your phone. You're on the shitter. You're doing something that you got time to do it. Just
you're
put
on
it.
The shitter.
Yeah.
We're sitting pretty steady at 11 ratings. They're all 5 stars, and we certainly appreciate that. But we can always use more. Hit us up, and if you rate us, I can guarantee that something good will happen to you.
We have stuff galore to give out, and it's just that we need to get rid of, and that it's fun stuff, and
sitting in our Bullets, Bourbon, and Karate warehouse.
There it is. Yeah, got all this hot merch that we're just waiting to push out. Yeah.
And we are Bullets, Bourbon, and Karate, which means every week we pair the movie we're watching with a drink. And this drink of choice was suggested by Miss Hall. It was.
She thankfully sat through that movie with us the whole night, shaking her head. And I mean, I see where she's coming from. I will say that I enjoyed the movie, but let's talk about the drink first. But yeah, she suggested she was looking up drinks during the movie, and she came across the hand grenade cocktail, which we have today. And so the ingredients here for the hand grenade cocktail, we have a little bit of vodka. We have 1 part vodka, 1 part rum, 1 part gin, 1 part rectified spirit, which I'm going to be honest with you, I didn't look at what a rectified spirit was. I just threw in some extra stuff.
The cocktail recipe I found had charcoal filtered rum, 1 to 3 year old light vodka, and a fresh pressed juice. I didn't do any of that.
No, that sounds like it sounds like a witch's brew when you're getting that specific about what you need to do. Yeah.
But you know what's great? I think like the way we made these is similar to the effect of of this movie. Like, what this movie should be is Rambo, and what it is me and Marcus's hand grenade cocktail.
It is. We just found some stuff lying around that kind of goes with it, and we poured it in a glass, and out came Colonel Hogan, and we get what we got.
If you're thinking that this sounds familiar, these are very popular on Bourbon Street. Do you have any memories of a hand grenade cocktail on Bourbon Street? Did you ever experience that, Marcus?
Never been to Bourbon. Never experienced it. Never experienced a Mardi Gras. And now I'm past that age to where that's just too many people for me.
You don't want to deal with that.
No, I don't want to deal with that. What about you? You ever been to Mardi Gras?
Yeah, I've never been to Mardi Gras, but I've certainly been to Bourbon Street. WrestleMania has taken place there twice.
Yeah.
So I go to WrestleMania. I try to go to WrestleMania when there's not a pandemic every year, and so I've been to the first WrestleMania I went to in New Orleans was WrestleMania 30, and I worked on a cruise ship for a famous comedy theater, and while I worked on that cruise ship, every Sunday we would dock in New Orleans, and we would have about 6 hours out on the just out on the street. We'd dock in the heart of Bourbon Street, and we would just have the run of the place. The trick was you could get in big trouble if you came back on the ship like wrecked.
Right.
So you'd have to pace yourself a little bit, but there's only so many, like, I think the first time we docked there, I was like, oh, hell yeah. But you can't do that every Sunday. And so I started pacing myself. But when I went to WrestleMania 30, that was the first time I really experienced Bourbon Street. It's descended upon by wrestling fans, 80,000, extra wrestling fans, which was always a terrible thing. Because they're awful. I'm a part of it, but I don't consider myself amongst the worst of them.
Do you consider wrestling fans harder to deal with than football fans? Like, would you rather be down there for WrestleMania or Super Bowl?
WrestleMania, just because I would enjoy it more. But Mm-hmm. I don't know who's worse or who's better. Both of them scream things down the street. And
Sure.
but I remember eating at a restaurant. It was this delicious restaurant, and they were like, the group I was with, like, let's go. And I was like, okay, let me chug this. And that's when I realized you could just drink on the streets. You can take drinks from restaurants and just take it with you. And I don't think I'd ever realized that.
Yeah.
Even doing it during WrestleMania 30, I felt like, oh, I can't be doing this. This is wrong.
This is wrong.
But there are two spots that they're called the Tropical Isle and the Funky Pirate.
Okay.
In the French Quarter of Bourbon Street, and they are sort of known for their hand grenade cocktail. And you know me, Marcus. Maybe you don't know. I think you know this about me. I love a frozen cocktail.
Yeah, I'm aware.
Oh, yeah. So this is great. They come in like a little hand grenade shaped. It kind of looks like a dick, actually, but it's sort of tube. That's how you might remember this. And they are. I've never gotten so drunk that I've needed to be like helped.
Right.
It still hasn't happened. I mean, I've been very drunk, and I got very drunk the first night we were in New Orleans for WrestleMania 30, but I didn't get like the people I see on the streets where they're throwing up, they're being carted away, and like police wagons and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But if I guess if I wanted to, the hand grenade cocktail would be a recipe for that.
Yeah, I think so. I think I think there's a number of times in my life where I've had to be helped, and one of those was with you.
Yeah, that happened.
That was a rough night.
But that wasn't that wasn't as much
wasn't a hand
drinking
grenade.
as it was
other activities,
other substances.
Yeah. Well, no, that's fun. Like I just real quick, I feel like the same way about you when you said walking out onto Bourbon Street and being able to drink and kind of being a little timid of it at first. I was the same way when Megan and I went to Las Vegas for our honeymoon. We went to Vegas and then Grand Canyon and stuff, and like everywhere you can walk around with a drink there, and it was just like I just still felt like I was breaking the law.
Yeah.
The older man inside of me was like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to drink responsibly. And, drink in a restaurant.
I don't want to deal with these people.
Yeah, and then like 6th Street in Austin. That's kind of the other bigger place where I've been to where you can drink on the street as well, which is fun.
So not only is this, I guess, in a way, like metaphorically tied to the movie, these hand grenade cocktails we're sipping from today, but there are also an insane amount of hand grenades in this movie.
Whew.
And these special hand grenades seem to have a blast radius of about 1 foot.
Yeah. You got to be pretty dead on. You got to be precise when you're throwing these guys.
It really is like that. There's no shrapnel. I mean, he's tossing them 10 feet away from himself, and he's like, got him. It's like, he's not... It really is... You know those poppers that you would buy, and you just throw them on the ground, and they make a big popping noise? That's what these grenades are like. Like, you throw them really hard at a person, if it lands near them, they fly, or they take, quote-unquote, shrapnel. So, let's talk about Deadly Prey. I found it interesting that this is sort of done by like a club of guys, like a club of people.
Yeah. That when you look at kind of the filmography of different guys in this group, you have some kind of maybe not well-known movies, but some kind of cult movies from the early 90s and stuff like that. Some other ones that have been around, but these guys, when dealing with kind of the exploitation-ish, action-ish exploitation movies that you look at, they're in charge of a lot of them through the 90s and early and late and 80s.
They wanted to capitalize on the sort of money that Rambo was making, that all these martial arts films were making. You had Van Damme doing his thing. And this movie, as well as all the other ones that Ted Pryor was a part of, was produced by something called Action International Pictures. Mm-hmm. Action International Pictures was founded by David Winters and David A. Pryor, the writer and director of this movie. And his brother, Ted Pryor, was in pretty much all of their movies.
Yeah.
Which I understand. And a lot of the people sort of cycled through this barrage of movies that included horror movies, slasher movies, things like that, including Aerobicide.
Aerobicide, yep.
And that movie about people who were killing people in the tanning booth and stuff like that.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, it was really just a quick way to do the exploitation and a loose script with pretty people just doing